Right, hello everybody. I'm delighted that we've been joined today by Simon Herrick, interim CEO of Blancco Technology Group, and he's joined by Chris Hunter, who is the head of finance. And they are here to talk about the half-year results that were announced yesterday, which were evidence of what seems to be a lot of hard work and a lot of stabilisation of the business. Simon, do you think that's a fair summary?
It seems like a fair summary, yeah. I think we can't underplay the hard work that the team have put in. It's been a transitional period for the team, so it's been very disruptive. But the key management personnel in the business have pulled the business together. It's been great because you've seen the underlying strength of the business come through and a very strong backbone within the team. So we've still got strong market opportunities, we've still got a supportive legislative landscape, we still have the best-in-class products, the IP is very strong as well, and we have a very loyal customer base, and those all help us really, particularly through a time that's been quite difficult. The team, I believe now, feel that we are at the point at which we can restart to deliver sustainable growth, and we are delivering growth in the four key categories of customer that we are dealing with. We saw, yes, in the results, our ITAD business looking as if it was going backwards. The reality is somewhat different in that we have lost very, very few customers, I mean virtually none. What has happened is the renewal rates had gone backwards, and that was driven by the signing of some larger multi-year deals in the first half last year. And those multi-year deals obviously don't renew, so it was the renewal rate on our existing customer base that changed, and that drove the total difference. We're not in that game now. We are in the process of dealing with those customers again on a more regular basis, and the volumes in the ITAD market are growing. Our mobile business has done very, very well. We've gained some more customers. We've proven our IP, we've proven our product, and the customers are very happy with what we do for them.
You must be delighted with this client loyalty. How would you assess that, given the management changes, the accounting changes you had to make within the business? Is it the quality of the product, or is it the quality of the people that they're still dealing with on a day-to-day business?
I think it's a combination of the two. As I said, there's an underlying core within the business of people that have been with the business for many years, and there's an awful lot of good people that have come into the business over the last few years, and the customers have great relationships with those people. Layer on top of that, or if you like, layer underneath that, the fact that the product is beyond compare in terms of certifications, in terms of what it does, then that combination leads to very strong loyalty. We've been lucky just recently. We announced that we had a distribution agreement with Ingram, who are an enormous business. That wasn't something that we wanted to go out there and announce to the world. That was Ingram wanting to announce that they were now capable of selling Blancco products. So the brand itself has got strength, and it's a brand that is known in the marketplace. And what we now have to make sure we do is deliver, and as the market grows, which to be frank, your gut says it's going to grow. We've got to be there at the forefront of it, growing with the market and filling that market, filling that vacuum as it is created.
And Ingram is but one of a number of
Yes.
very large clients, as you say. Do you think that the revenue progression is going to involve a smaller number of large clients doing more business throughout their multiple products and multiple regions with you? Or is there scope to continue to expand the number of clients as well?
Well, I think the people like Ingram and the people like Kroll, with whom we have a relationship, they obviously can introduce us to at a higher level into some of the bigger enterprises. They will obviously sell us in through their own networks, but also there's a relationship that gets built because we obviously have the technology, we have the support, and we have the capability to help the implementation process. So you do get exposure to some of these bigger customers through the Ingram and Kroll relationships. As the market grows, I think Blancco is in the optimal position to take up the market growth. And stay ahead of the game. It's key that we maintain the patents we've talked about and the certifications we've talked about, and stay ahead of the game in terms of the technology and keep that Blancco brand at the forefront of this technology.
And as you quite rightly say, staying ahead of the game. What have competition been doing, whilst you've been sorting out one or two internal challenges? Again, it sounds you've retained clients, you've always been a company that's invested in R&D and product development. Do you still have a good lead time over the competition?
We believe we do. There are competitors out there, obviously. There are organisations that don't quite do exactly the same piece as what we do. It's not beyond the wit of man to foresee a situation where there may be some collaborations with businesses that are doing different things to us in the same customer base and in the same markets, which will enable us all to grow. So we've seen competition and we see it all the time. Is it something that helps us? I believe it does, because it drives us forward, because we hear from customers what the competition are saying, and we've got to stay ahead of it.
Yeah, well, do you have many touch points to deal with? It sounds as if the client base is loyal and happy. In terms of stock market parlance, the fact that these results have come in line with what both you expected and what analysts were looking for is encouraging. What about internally? How is staff optimism at the moment, and how is the team functioning as a team? It's always important when you're geographically spread.
Yeah, when you're an inch deep and a mile wide, yes. We are spread across the globe. What's happened is we've pulled together as a team behind 4 main customer groupings. So we talk about the ITAD, the IT Asset Disposition business, which has been a mainstay of the group for many, many years. We then look at and talk about enterprise data centre, okay, which is a different customer base, but primarily involved in the erasure of data within data centres in live environments. And we have an active data erasure product for that market. We then have mobile retailers who are with stores selling phones and also supporting their customers with the services that they provide. And we have mobile erasure and mobile reprocessing businesses. So there's those kind of 4 main customer groups that we've identified, having spent time with our customers, and we have focused the sales force in those customer areas. Behind that, we've then focused the R&D teams on enhancing the products we have that we deliver to those 4 key customer groups, which means that people are aligned within the business. We've taken out any other distractions from that at the moment. That's not to say that we won't then further expand elsewhere, but fundamentally in stabilising what we've got and making sure everybody's aligned, that has been quite key. And the consequence of that is, I think the people in the business who we have, as I said, we've got great people, have got focus and have got alignment and know what they're doing. And half the battle of morale is people feeling they know what they're doing and feeling that they're achieving. And I get the impression, certainly from the discussions I have with a lot of people in the business, that they know what they're doing and they are achieving, which is great. There's a lot more, I feel there's a lot more communication in the business as well. So communications between our Finnish R&D team and our Indian R&D team, between our R&D teams, our support teams and our sales teams. There's a lot more collaboration going on, I feel. So when a customer is being spoken to about a certain issue or a certain product that they require, that is very quickly disseminated amongst the people in the business that can support that and help that.
Yeah. So Chris, quite a busy period for you. Restatements, refocusing, but it all seems to have worked out well in the end. Where would you like to start looking at what's happened in the last 6 months?
I think the important thing is probably just to have a look back at the comparative results, which, as you said, we've restated, and just contextualise those before we can go on to talk about the performance for the current period. So we have adjusted the numbers for the first half in 17. That's been for a couple of reasons. First of all, as part of the review of contracts that we undertook at the previous year end, this covered a contract that had originally been booked in the first half of 17, and upon review of that particular contract, it was clear that the requirements for the recognition of the revenue hadn't been met, and we reversed that contract out. That was originally done in the full year results last year, as we disclosed, but since that was an H1 contract, we've also now restated the comparatives here, and that's resulted in the reduction of revenue of about 0.9 million. Secondly, as we've announced, we've also disposed of our Mexico business, and as a result, we've moved the results of that business out of the main P&L and into the discontinued operations. This has reduced the revenues reported by around £500,000, and also the bottom line by 200,000, and that gives us a rebased prior year around 12.8 million of revenues and 2.5 million of profit.
And maybe one number that struck me as a very encouraging swing was the cash conversion, which again both you and Simon I'm sure have been very focused on. Where did that come out at the half year? So
cash conversion for this half year, we saw a much better conversion, a return to healthy cash generation. We were up at 110% for this year, the comparative period being around 30%. And really what this demonstrates is that we've seen much better alignment now of cash conversion with revenue. The revenue is now being recognised much more closely aligned with the commercials of the underlying deals. They've gone through a lot more scrutiny with the finance team, and we're very comfortable with the revenue that we're recognising, and it kind of proves itself in the cash as well. The cash is coming through the door, and we're showing much better generation for this period, which we expect to continue into the second half.
Good, and that bodes well. And what about headroom as well? You have opportunities to invest the money. What do the banks think about that?
Yes, that's right. We still have the same facility with the banks we've carried for the last couple of years. Relationship with the bank is still strong and very good. Total facility sitting at a little over 12 million, of which we've currently drawn about 9. So even within the facility, we've got about 3 million of headroom. And we've also got a lot of cash sitting within the business that we can use for the immediate investment, as you say, around 5.6 million sitting within the business. So there's a good degree of headroom we've got in the actual cash balances as well.
And how much of that will go into R&D and product development?
R&D, product development, still a big focus for the company. Obviously, one of the unique propositions is the quality of the R&D and the IP that we've got, and that still remains firm. The investment in the development in this period just gone is actually up 20% year on year. So where we have rebased some of the cost in the business, we've continued to invest in the development. I'd expect that to stay as a key priority into the future as well, and we'll probably see that ticking up again slightly.
And without drawing you into a forecast, a lot of investment in personnel last year, and particularly in the sales side. What would logically expect to see margins move upwards as they get to work? It's a sunk cost now, and goes back to the pipeline of work opportunities that Simon was mentioning.
Yeah, that's right. We should see the margin ticking up. As you say, we've taken out a bit of the cost, but what we've got left with is a business that's got the good, strong sales team, the core that's still there. We've still got the high-performing salespeople going out and knocking on doors and generating business. There's a bit more room in the cost base in terms of what we can do in the second half, having taken out a bit of the fixed cost. But it just gives us a bit more opportunity to kind of invest a bit more in variable costs should we wish to add a bit more cost into the marketing arena to try and generate some more pipeline, as you say, and again the focus on the short-term revenue generation for the time being.
Good. So cash flow in the right way, balance sheet in good shape. Anything that people should be worried about, or you're quietly confident?
Quietly confident, I think that's fair. This period has been very much a period of stabilisation. Obviously, the last period and the last set of results had the large restatement in, and not a great deal of clarity in terms of where the business was sitting. At the start of the year, we kind of committed to a range of outcomes as where we thought the full year 18 would come out. I think it's clear from the first half results that we've delivered a good stable base for the first 6 months. And we certainly expect to see that coming through in the second half into good, reliable growth rates in terms of P&L for the full year, and continued good cash generation for the balance of year as well.
Great. Well, thanks for that, Chris, and perhaps we'll just go back to Simon for a quick summing up about the opportunity now.
Thank you.
Well, it's good to hear, and of course, proof of the pudding is in sales, but it's also in the pipeline
Yes.
of future opportunities, which, again, looking at the announcement yesterday, seem to be in a healthy state.
Yeah, the pipeline, the sheer number of, if you like, organisations in the pipe at the top of the funnel is fewer now than it probably was a year ago. But we would all argue internally, certainly, that the quality of those of that pipeline is significantly stronger. So the conversion rate is significantly higher, and what that means is that we've got better visibility in forecasting and planning within the business. And it's great to see sales teams achieving their forecasts because they all feel good about it, and as they should.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like Alan Bentley is doing a very good job in pulling all those different products, regional expertise and sales heads together, all in the same direction.
Alan has been a breath of fresh air, I feel, in the sales force. He's a very pragmatic person, a driven person, and somebody that fundamentally lines people up and says, right, this is what you've got to aim for, this is what you need to shoot at. And with that kind of direction, people get on with it. I think his view of sales and how the sales force runs, he could probably patent it himself. I mean, he's been very, very good, and I've seen a discernible difference in the style and the of communication, certainly, and the collaboration between the sales force and the other teams in the business. So I'm a fan, to be honest. And we've seen a similar thing in the R&D team. So Russ Ernst, who stepped into the head of R&D role, has pulled together the support, the R&D and the IT teams in a similar fashion to help And they're working, those two guys are working very closely together, along with other members of the team, both geographically and within organisation, within functions, to pull together and make sure everybody's working in the same direction. So we have very productive leadership team meetings, perhaps with more people in those meetings than we had in the past. But what that means is everybody knows everything that's going on. And you find that people contribute. People want to contribute. They want to feel part of the team. They want to make the thing move forward. So you're getting ideas coming in from side left, side right, and it's, as I say, it's so far it's been a very positive, collaborative process, particularly given the distractions of what we've been doing with the business. So since last September, obviously we've refocused and reorganised the teams within the business, but we had a reorganisation which involved downsizing quite significantly part of the management team because the business wasn't really large enough to sustain the cost base that we had. We then went into negotiation with our Mexican management team. You'll see that we've sold the Mexican business to the management team locally. That now leaves them much more leeway to grow that business in Mexico and use their contact base and their relationships in Mexico to grow that business. They will be a distributor going forward, which means that we sell them software and they deal with the customer directly. We've then had some negotiations in China where we have set up a small distribution agreement, and the distributor has signed up an agreement with JD.com, a massive business over there. And again, JD.com were the people that wanted to go out there and advertise that they now have Blancco as a product. Which is a good thing. We've not seen a huge amount of business coming out of that yet, but you know you're dealing with a massive company over there. Exactly. So that's a good move, and not least we've achieved what we said we were going to achieve in terms of our priorities, which were to manage the cash flow, which we've been doing. We're much closer in terms of what's coming in and what's going out of the business and how we manage the cash forecasting. We've talked about revenue. The marketing function has become more focused on near-term gains. We are a business that is not of a size to spend huge sums of money educating the entire planet as to what we do. So we're focused on marketing that drives good contacts, good leads, and a strong pipeline, which has allowed us to do that. We've selectively invested in R&D in the products, as we said. We've embedded much greater scrutiny and accountability in the accounting systems and finance systems. The finance team have done a fantastic job in embedding NetSuite, our accounting software, across the globe. So we now have visibility of every transaction everywhere on the planet, which obviously improves control. Within our Salesforce management system, we have built in more controls and more authorization levels, which means that anything that is slightly different does come through. But to be frank, anything that comes to me, somebody in the Salesforce has already phoned me about it, so which is brilliant. So things are not surprises. Yeah. So it works really well. And you know, we've basically, I believe, as a team, now got the business in the best possible shape to welcome my successor. As you will know, in front of my title is the word interim. This business. You haven't got that tattooed anywhere. No. But the reality is, the business needs, I'll say this, a proper software CEO who has got experience in this market. This was a new venture for me in terms of industry. My background is not software, but I've really enjoyed this. As I say, there's been a lot of hard work, and I've just really applied a lot of common sense business principles that I've learnt elsewhere and brought it to here. So the next phase, the next part of this business's life, I believe, is about a new CEO who I can feel comfortable and confident that I can hand them the file and say, look, this is what you've got, this is what's happening, this is how it works, we're in control, these are the 4 customer categories we focused on, this is how on. So how everything works, and I think it's then going to be up to them to think potentially more strategically about where the business goes and what they might want to do in terms of shaping it 4 or 5 years down the line.
Yeah, and the words used in the statement suggest that appointment may not be too far away. I won't ask you to put a date on it, but
shortly is the
shortly
word.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And congratulations on the hard work for you and the team to. What G and Stables would be an unfair comparison, but to move the business on to the point now where a significant opportunity can be taken advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, my thanks goes to the whole team, to be frank.
Right. Great. Well, thank you both, gentlemen. I would point out for those interested that the slides that have been referred to in this talk are available on the Blancco website. There is also an updated research note from Paul Hill at Equity Development with unchanged forecasts and unchanged fair value, which is always nice to say. And we wish the team luck in the future.